President English,
Present.
Director Campbell, Director Cook, Director Hartfield, Director Maniscalco, Director Mechanic,
Here.
Director Schisler, Director Williams,
Here.
and Alternate Director Niebrick.
Present.
Thank you. You do not have a quorum, sir.
Okay, so this becomes a workshop. That's disappointing, but it is vacation season, so it is what it is. I want to apologize one more time. I left my reading glasses in my car, so I'm wearing my sunglasses at the meeting today. Public input. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to be heard? Here's our quorum.
Correct, sir.
Hello, Master Quorum. Agenda item number 3 is welcoming new board members. It's a pleasure. Please join me in welcome 2 new HART board members, Gary Hartfield, who is not present today, and Adam Niebrick, who is. And we're very happy to have you on our board. We hope you enjoy it.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thanks. Approval of minutes from the June, this must be June 24th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any additions, deletions, or subtractions, or anything else? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say nay. Next is a presentation on the FY 2026 HART THS proposed budget. The presentation is uploaded to your services and you have printed copies. Mr. Drainville, you're recognized.
Thank you, President English, and good afternoon, board members. So this will be the second review of the FY 2026 HART THS proposed budget. The first time was during the July 24th board meeting. The board did ask for clarification in the indirect cost allocation tracking and adding 7 positions for operations controllers and road supervisors to the next year's budget. Additional information was transmitted to the board, and you have printed copies available throughout this meeting for your reference. So since we already prepared this, proposed this budget in the last meeting, I asked Ms. Melanie Williams, the Director of Budgets and Grants, to actually just kind of go over, instead of going through this whole presentation, just to go through the updated HART revenues and expenses, and then we can have a discussion on that if needed. So, Ms. Williams?
Good afternoon. Okay, good afternoon, Mr. English, members of the board, Mr. Drainville. On June 24th, 2025, I presented the FY 2026 HART THS proposed budget. The proposed budget was subject to change, and for today's discussion, as Mr. Drainville stated, I will provide the budget updates based on those changes. FY 26 budget includes the HARTS portion and the THS portion, which is provided by the City of Tampa. I would like to start on slide 5 with the HART portion of the streetcar operating revenues. Here. slide 5. Okay. So this slide shows the FY24 actuals, the FY25 budget, the FY25 projection, and the FY 2026 budget. Looking at the state operating grants, it's at $100,000. We have the federal operating grants at $200,000. Advertising at $115,000. The fair revenues for the special events at $7,688. Then we have the City of Tampa contributions at $787,750. The City of Tampa contributions from the general fund at $531,000. And then we have the Tampa Historic Streetcar contributions at $4,351,137. With the total revenues at $6,092,575. Now, this next slide was added to provide the details of the Tampa Historic Streetcar contribution. The number represents the projected amount the expenses exceed the revenues that we would bill the city. So looking at the details here, we have for FY24 actuals at $856,481, and that was the HART expenses less the revenues. Then for the FY25 budget, it went from $856,481 to $1,009,334. Then we have the FDOT grant for the fairs of $700,000, and then the HART overhead at that $1,475,290. For the projected amount for FY25, to get to the $2,484,624, you have the HART expenses less than revenues at $1,308,047. The $700,000 for the free fairs. Then we have the additional CRA funds for the free fairs, the offsets that $700,000. And then that gives us to the total of $2,484,624. Looking at the FY26 budget, the breakdown of that $4,351,137, we have the expenses less the revenues at $2,458,936. The $700,000 for the free fairs, and then the HART overhead projected at $1,192,201, and that brings you to that $4,351,137. Next is the streetcar operating expenses. We have the salary and wages at $2,883,308. The fringe benefits at $1,362,476. We have the fuel and oil at $8,601. Parts and supplies, $246,997. Contract services at $16,876. Marketing and printing at $46,988. The insurance costs at $125,000. Utilities at $161,496. And other expenses at $48,633. And then you have the overhead for the streetcar expenses at that $1,192,201 to get you to the balanced budget at for the total expenses at $6,092,575. There were no changes to the details for the overhead. The THS operating budget did have one change, and that included the increase for the special service district at $1,860,192, bringing the total revenues at $1,923,643. This is the balanced budget, so the total expenses is at that $1,923,643. And this brings us to the HART and THS operating budget, and is the combined budget with the two HART portion and the THS budget combined. And the total revenues is $3,665,081, with the total expenses at $3,665,081. There was no change to the positions from the last presentation. Here's the streetcar capital project. There was one minor change from we included a 75,000 project. We included that in that move to the FY25 projections. So the FY26 proposed capital projects total 1,182,200. And the next steps is that August 26th, we'll present this back to the board for the adoption of the FY26 HART Streetcar Operating and THS corporate budget. And then in September, we'll have our 2 public hearings to adopt the FY26 HART Operating and Capital Budget. And this concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Questions? Please, Bill.
Hi, Melvin, Mr. Drainville, the reserve of 3.4 million,
Yes.
reserve drain of 3 million 3,447,000.
Yes.
That's okay, that's this year. What happens next year?
This number represents the shortfall. So it's the combined revenues less than the expenses. And depending on it will go, if the expenses continue to go up, that number will be affected and go up also. But that number represents the shortfall between the combined THS and HART revenues and expenses.
And we'll look to the city of Tampa to cover that? Is that the
So if I
plan?
may, so if I may, I can answer that. So, yes, the city of Tampa, Mayor Castor did propose a budget to city council. And in that budget proposal, there was an allocation of $2 million increase to the streetcar. So that will still have to be approved, but there's a $2 million from the city. Ms. Kirk and I did meet with the city staff last week and the beginning of this week to talk about there's an additional deficit. So we're going to be in talks and conversations with both the mayor and the city on the deficit. And we also started, Ms. Heather Sobush, who's the director of service planning, has started the process with the CRAs to try to get that at least the current additional $700,000 for the free fares back into this current FY26. So we're hoping that with the ongoing communications with the city and the CRAs that we can fill this deficit.
What's our confidence level?
What was the question?
What's our confidence level that the council's going to?
That's a great
Are they-
question.
Well, they're increasing it by 2 million, or are they going to be a flat 2 million?
No, so the proposal's a flat $2 million right now.
2 million.
2 million, an increased 2 million towards the streetcar. We're starting off at 4.3. They've proposed 2 million, but leaves us at a $2.3 million deficit.
$2 million deficit.
No, so 2.3, if the 2 million that they proposed, the increase for the streetcar, if that gets approved, there'll still be a $2.3 million deficit.
So 2.3.
Right. So we'll be looking
So when
to.
did you ask for 2 and the mayor?
So we never formally asked for 2. To be honest with you, it was a surprise to me when I was watching the city budget proposal, and I seen that, and I confirmed with my meeting with the CFO for the city, and he confirmed that yes, we did propose $2 million increase towards the streetcar.
Which leaves a deficit of
2.3,
another 2.3.
another 2.3.
I don't get that. I don't understand it. It's ridiculous.
So and then I've asked Ms. Williams if we could explain the breakdown of the 4.3.
So this slide here gives you a breakdown of that 4.3. So in the past, prior to an FY24, the amount was 856 for 81. So over past years with the increase of expenses, that number is going to increase. So FY25, it was the $1 million. Then we have the loss of the FDOT grant of that $700,000 for the fare freeze, and then the overhead of the 1.4. That brings you to the 3.1. So moving over to FY26, the 4.3, the HART less expenses less than revenues is 2.4, and that includes the 7 new positions and any other increases in expenses. And then you have the breakdown of the 700,000, and that's for the fare free. And then the overhead, HART's overhead at 1.1, and that gives you your 4.3 amount.
Just to make sure I'm tracking, we are short $4.3 million, and we are dependent on primarily the city of Tampa to make that up. If the city of Tampa does approve the $2 million that they've considered but not yet approved, it still leaves us short an additional $2.3 million. Am I tracking correctly on the numbers?
No, that's correct. And there's still, like I said, there'll still be communications with the city, and hopefully that $2 million, we get into conversations about the other $2 million deficit, and then of course with the CRA contribution. So keep in mind, when we added the 7 positions, the healthcare and the fringe all adds up to that. So the additional 7 positions increased the budget significantly. And I would say to keep in mind that, since the inception of the streetcar with HART, HART's been assuming these costs year after year after year after year. And after I've been here almost 8 years and a number of audits, and it always comes up about the lack of staffing when it comes to operations control and street supervision. So we always had an asterisk on the budget presentations that HART was always sharing the costs of this. But we did invest some money into downstairs. We have an operations control center right here at EBO now. It's always been at 21st. And these 7 positions will strictly man the streetcar all the time the service is running.
Melanie?
Thank you, Mr. President English. Are those positions for new hires or are those positions for people that are already on staff?
So most likely it's going to be staff, people that are already working, transferring on, because it's a specific skill and at least specific training. And a few of them already have that training. So most likely it'll be transferring over to that mode of transportation. And we've already have the positions posted.
I thank you. I asked that question just in case, if we are in jeopardy of not making the budget. It's not like we're bringing new people on and may have to release people at some point as a result of that. And I understand that this is the first year we're doing so, and it's a transition year, and there was some conversation about communication and how that happened. So, I still very concerning, $2.3 million.
Yeah, it is.
And how much of the $2.3 million is represents the 7 people?
If you look here,
Or maybe let me ask the question differently.
here, I have that number.
Maybe I'm going to ask the question differently. Does the city believe the $2 million? What are they paying for? What do they believe the $2 million represent?
Again, that's not. These are conversations I'm going to
Got
have
it.
because I have not. So I wasn't in the conversations to request the $2 million. I seen it when they actually proposed the budget.
Okay, all right. I think maybe understanding what the $2 million, what they believe they're paying for, may give us some more clarity as to, the segmentation of the dollars and what we have left and the categories that's remaining. Thank you.
Sure.
And to answer your question, the actual 7 positions, they are a total of $753,815. That's the salary and fringes.
Gil, push your microphone up.
If I may, a follow-up, since I started the snowball, what's our fallback? If city council holds fast and says no more than 2 million or 2.5 million or whatever, what's our fallback?
So I would say the same scenarios as last year. I mean, if the only way HART can cover any shortfall is fares. That is the only way HART can. It's in the operational costs. So of course, if the fares are free, we'll be paying that. And we bill the city monthly. So whatever actual costs that we incurred that month, we will bill the city, and they would pay us for that monthly bill.
Are they paying us the indirect cost now or just the direct cost at this point?
That's a great question. To date, they have not paid the indirect costs. I don't know, Ms. Williams, do you know the exact amount?
No, I don't off the top of my head. They only pay the direct costs.
But when we bill the city monthly, there's an itemized line which they requested for indirect costs, and they have not paid us the indirect costs.
Are the indirect, just refresh my memory, the indirect costs, that's the allocation calculation that we do. Is there anybody that's strictly dedicated to the indirect cost that we could move to direct cost, or is it all
Well,
scattered.
that's
back
a great
and forth.
question. That's conversations I want to get with the city going forward in the budget. If the indirect costs are part of the operating budget and they're just assumed inside the operating budget.
Because we're being forced to charge the city the direct cost because of, is it the feds doing it?
Well, no. So
Somebody's making us do this.
Well, we're not being forced to do it. I mean, as you know, it's good practice to have cost allocation. But in the FDOT operations analysis of HART, they requested or recommended us to have a cost allocation plan for the entire HART. So we did the cost allocation of the entire HART, not just the streetcar.
Right, okay. I know you got your work cut out for you on getting this taken care of, because otherwise we got a real problem.
And I think, and going forward in the future, what we need to do is sit down with the city in March, April, sit down and discuss the budget, and I'm not making any assumptions, but the budget has been this way. We present the budget in June since the inception of the streetcar. Again, we shouldn't be waiting until June. We should be starting this process March, April with the city, so we don't come up with this scenario year after year after year. So,
Well, you're hogtied because they won't accept the indirect cost allocation to begin with. So that creates its own set of problems to begin with. It's going to be.
so hopefully I'll have much more positive to report on the August meeting when we approve this budget.
Very distressing. So bottom line, at the end of the day, what do we have to ask the CRAs? Are you familiar with how we get some of this money? There are our community redevelopment areas, 2 in Ybor, 1 in the Channel District, and 1 or 2 downtown. And we have to go to those advisory committees. They're administered by city staff, but they all have citizen advisory committees. And most of them, particularly downtown ones, have a lot of money. But we have to go to the advisory committees in August and ask that they fund this shortfall. So how much do we have to go ask them for this year?
So we were going to ask them for the additional 700 to cover the free fares.
Yeah, but that's not all. You
No,
plan
but
to ask them for it.
my conversation was going to be with the city for the remaining deficit. But if you, with your direction, if you want us to ask the CRAs for more than the 700, then we can do that too.
We have, if I
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, please, yeah.
According to the schedule, we have nothing. We have no revenues coming from the CRAs.
No, there is the annual contribution is 700,000.
The CRA.
The
I mean,
CRA.
it's not listed up top. That's
Yeah,
where I'm
so,
confused.
if you see, the slide before that, you see the 787,
Okay, that's
the
his TIF.
CRAs at 337.
That's his TIF. Is that the TIF and CRA the same? I mean, I know what TIF is, but are we assuming that's how we're just classifying it?
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
415 to 337 from the local CRAs for the free fares.
Okay, so we're asking them for an additional 700 on top of that for almost 1.5 mil.
Right.
Do they have the funding for that?
Oh, well, we were in this scenario last year, and we did get it approved late in the game. So we're hoping that we can get additional funding this year as well.
So you're saying now, oh, go ahead, Dave, I'm sorry. David?
I think that was background noise.
I thought it was Dave Mechanic.
Yeah, but it sounded like,
So,
I didn't ask to speak.
oh, okay, sorry. So you're saying we're not going to ask for 1.4 million, we're going to ask for the same 700,000 we've been asking for?
And then,
And that covers it?
no, then that's only one part of the two-part conversation I will be having with the mayor and the city. For the
Plus the
addition,
$2 million, which is new money?
which is new money.
And city council has to give that to you?
City council would approve that.
From what source?
No, that is not from me to decide where that comes from. We just we'll just present to them the deficit,
Mhm.
and they'll decide whether they want to approve that and where that money would come from.
Okay. Well, could be worse.
I guess, and I don't need to put you on the spot, but the 787, we're only gonna ask for 7.
So, and it's just, so it's always been that the FDOT always gave us the 700,000 from the grant.
Right.
And if you see in the first column, it has 800,000 because HART takes 100,000 of its own money and contributes that. So when you look at the first 800,000, we contribute the 100,000, and on the second, the 5307, that's HART money allocated to the streetcar. So HART already puts in the 300,000. So the 800,000, the 700,000 CRAs, and the additional 700,000 would make up the 1.4 for the free fares.
So you're gonna ask for 1.45, 1.487 total before it's all said and done.
Right, to cover the free
this.
fares.
So that would eliminate that portion of it, which still leaves us at, can you go one more slide, Melody? It still leaves us at 1,192,000 short. Yes? Well, 1,192,000 plus the 400,000 from the 458 for the 2 million. So we're still 1.5 plus 1.6 million short. And we couldn't raise fares at that point because we already asked CRA to cover that.
We're still fare free.
Yeah. So we've got an operating deficit. We don't have any HART reserves strictly for the streetcar. I
We
don't
do
think
not.
so.
So it's all it's gonna be up to the negotiations with the city and how we move forward.
Fallback, if that all fails. Say the CRA comes in, city says no, we're 1,500,000, 1,600,000 short. We can't raise fares because we would have sold our souls to get the additional 700. What are we gonna do?
We'll have to see we have to look at the tri-party and see what the next steps would be.
We're going to end up asking the CRAs for it.
Is that what?
We'll end up asking the CRAs for it, or make HART back off on this overhead.
And that would be, so when we talk about the overhead and HART, that would be a HART board decision. The HART board asked me, what does HART allocate towards the streetcar? And this is what kind of started this whole cost allocation. And at the time, we were only allocating that 300,000. But as we did the cost allocation, we knew that, the only indirect cost HART's been assuming year after year after year. And then when you look at the comparisons of the streetcar across the nation, HART was never even in the same range ballpark as any other streetcar. And this is the reason why, because HART's been assuming these costs for all these years. So it would be definitely up to the board, the HART board, to vote on if they want to, if they want to assume these costs on the street.
Do you all discuss this at the HART board meeting?
We did.
Yeah. But we weren't this far into the city of Tampa hadn't done anything. It was still this black hole as to what we were looking is potentially going to happen.
Yeah. Yep.
Now that you've had the opportunity to meet with them, they've only wanted to do 2 mil. How much did you last year? They did 3.1, right? Last year or this year current?
No, current year, all they did was the additional 700,000 with CRAs. The city didn't give us any extra.
But we're still underwater with them with the
So
indirect.
so we have multiple issues. We have not been paid the indirect cost the actual cost of indirect monthly.
How can we help you with the negotiations?
Well, we'll see. I guess we could see how the conversations with the mayor go, and then it'd be really up to the finance committee and then taking it to the HART board and see what the next steps are.
It's a little unnerving. And it's not y'all's fault. Those numbers are the numbers. There's nothing we can do about it. We're dealing with outside entities and the tri-party members.
Melanie,
Just for clarification.
could you pull the mic a little closer?
Yes, for clarification. Based on what Melanie was saying, the head count was $700,000. So that doesn't make up $2.3 million. So I'm just thinking it must come from some other aspect.
Now go back here. So this is the breakdown, the 1 point of the difference of the increases. So the increase of total 1.1. The total increase from FY '25 to FY '26 is $1,165,476.
I'm sorry, 1 million.
So the clarification, the 700,000 is the combination just for the 7 employees. But then you have the increase of the ATU union increases, and the normal increases of the salaries and the fringe benefits, which is the increase from the ATU, from the labor union increase is included in there, and then the increase of the expenses throughout the categories.
So if you look at the first salaries and wages, it's 723,000, and then fringe is an additional 698,000.
We would have incurred that either way though, right?
Yeah, so it was, every time you add an FTE, then the fringe benefits is a certain percentage.
Okay, so okay, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think just want to make sure I'm tracking the conversation. There's increases in the FTE, which contributes to approximately 700,000. No, part of it. And then the fringe benefits are a function of the increase in of the FTE and the CBA that's been ratified with the ATU. The combined increase adds up to 1.4 and change. That come from those two different sources. The additional pressure comes from the loss of the grant, which was previously 700,000, that we're seeking to make up from a variety of sources, which include either going to the CRA and or the city of Tampa being willing to contribute up to $2 million. Best case scenario, we'll be left with a 2.3 shortfall is how I'm hearing that. And we'll need to either make up for that through a HART board action or through some other lever to include going back to the CRA and asking for additional contributions.
The only clarification is the 2.3. So whatever the CRA contributes would be minus that 2.3.
Would be mine, okay. Yeah, thank you. All understanding questions. I don't have any thoughts beyond that.
Welcome to the THS board.
One thing that does include in the fringes, which skews the percentage, I believe, would be health insurance costs, which are programmed to go up. What was our increase this year? Any idea? Which proposed?
I believe it was, I think it was 14%.
14%. So that's not direct one that covers everybody in the whole organization that's with the streetcars. So you've got, as Mr. Lieber was saying, you've got the 7. I'm just building a metal bridge to get from there to where we are. You get 7 FTEs. Then you've got the fringes associated with them. Then you've got the fringes associated with any CBA adjustments. Then on top of that, you've got 15%, 14% increase in health insurance costs. So that's why it looks a little hinky, but it does make sense. It does make sense. Doesn't help, but it makes sense, I've done budgets for most of my career, so this is a time of year that budget people are banging their heads against the wall trying to figure out how do I make this work, because you got to balance it.
Well, thank you for your insight too, by the way. You and Melanie both. In fact, all 3 of you, thank you. All right, any other questions? We're not taking action today, I assume.
No action.
Any other comments or questions?
Hey, Michael, this is Frank Delagrana on the phone regarding the renewal for the employment practices liability. Did you still want to talk about that today or schedule for another time?
Who is speaking?
It's.
Frank Delagrana?
Insurance.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're not done. Yeah, hang in there, Frank.
Oh, no worries, just checking.
Yeah, hold on. We'll get to you in a minute. But I'm glad you reminded me you were there. All right, thank you, Melanie. Let's move on unless there are any other questions.
Thank you.
And we will see you again next month. And next month, we have to approve this thing, right?
That's good.
All right, good. Okay, marketing services report, Mr. Wazinski.
Good afternoon, President English, THS Board, Mr. Drainville. I want to be giving the marketing services report for June. In June, the marketing team produced and deployed a wide range of collateral and graphic assets to support operations, recruitment, and public engagement. Deliverables included the streetcar assessment brochure for the CRAs. We welcomed the the U.S. Conference of Mayors to town. And so we welcome them with interior cards, social media collateral, as well as signage at the stations. We had a service change that took place that impacted the streetcar on June 22nd. So my team, we worked on a press release for this, social media messaging, updates to all the schedules, the kiosks, everything that's produced for the stations was updated. We assisted with the streetcar operator recruitment campaign to build the ranks there. So that includes social media messaging. And then we also assisted with an internal streetcar safety blitz and worked with training on that part. As I mentioned, we assist with this service change there. We also highlighted the return of streetcar 431 from Iowa and did a nice little social media campaign around that. And then we also supported a number of streetcar service events, including the Tampa Fringe Fest, concerts including Wu-Tang Clan, and then the Tampa Sun FC Championship Parade, and the PRSA Travel and Tourism 2025 conference at the Convention Center. We had a number of media hits this in June, which included WTSP, Fox 13, WFLA, and ABC Action News, which covered the service change. We went from 12-minute peak service to a consistent 15-minute service all around. And then we also had coverage related to Boom by the Bay. And then we also had some highlights of the streetcar as an alternative to road traffic, and that was from WQIK, and That's So Tampa, and WFLA. From the advertising side, we had the Florida Department of Health, which took out some step panels for a month, and then we had HNTB, which did a half side for the U.S. Conference of Mayors. So, and that's my report.
Any questions? Nice report, Frank. Busy month as usual. Thank you. Streetcar system report, Mr. Allen.
Good afternoon, President English, members of the board, Mr. Drainville. Before I give you our missed trips, I want to say we were short of cars in the past 6 weeks due to cars being out of service, waiting on components. So this is going to drive our missed trip numbers. For June, of the 4,212 trips we were scheduled to run, we had 488 reported missed trips. These missed trips, the big driver was we've been relying on our open air car to pull its weight this month. And we had 252 trips that we couldn't run that car due to weather or shortage of manpower. We had 75 trips that were a shortage of operators, 67 additional trips that were shortage of vehicles, 51 trips that were mechanical issues, 30 trips from a lightning strike on June 15th, and 13 other trips that were just schedule adjustments going between 5 to 4 and 4 to 3 car service. As far as accidents, incidents, there were 4 this month. On June 3rd, motorman was putting a pole up on car 434 and saw sparks under the car. He ended up discharging a fire extinguisher on the fuse block. This was later determined that the car had been run through high water the day before on June 2nd when we had very heavy storms. As I said, June 15th, there was a lightning strike to a pole up on 8th Avenue at 13th Street, which caught the disconnect switch on fire. TPD responded to it. Service was terminated at 9 p.m. In an attempt to make the repairs, but the weather was so bad we had to wait till the next morning. And after that, we resumed service the next day on schedule. June 28th, 434 was crossing Morgan Street at Water, and car ran the light there and was struck by it. No injuries were reported, and the driver of the vehicle was cited. And finally, on June 29th, car 435 was at 8th and 15th, and a car ran into the step of it and then left the scene. So there was also no injuries or no real damage there. As Frank stated, for the United States Conference of Mayors, on June 20th, we suspended service between 6 and 8 p.m. so that we could be the sole source of transportation for the mayors to go from Dick Greco Plaza up to Hotel Hyatt. And finally, with all the bad news, ridership for June was 106,549, up from 99,438 last year at this month.
Wow.
And of those, 103 were ADA boardings. And I have 2 student motormen in class right now. They are going to graduate on the 22nd of this month, and we still have 2 additional positions open. And that concludes my report if you have any questions.
Nice ridership, but kind of a tough month for y'all.
It's been brutal.
Yeah, I wondered why you were running the breezer. It's hotter than Dickens out there, but that's it. Any other questions? Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Okay, legal and legislative report. Mr. Smoker, why don't you deal with Mr. De La Grana and our liability policy?
Thank you.
Can you hit your mic?
We have a director's.
Mr. Smoker, can you turn your mic on? Oh, hit it again. There you go.
Each year, we have to renew our D&O insurance policy, which is an insurance policy that protects the board in the event of any kind of issues legally that surface. With us today is Frank De La Grana, who is our insurance broker. And I'll turn it over to him to explain the specifics of the renewal proposal that we've received and from whom we've received it. Frank?
Thank you, David. Again, Frank De La Grana with the Baldwin Group. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so yeah, just wanted to review the renewal of the public entity EPLI policy. This is the same policy that's been in place for the past few years, provided by Chubb Insurance. The renewal for this policy has stayed flat throughout the years. The renewal premium for this year, I have it right in front of me, I apologize. The renewal premium is $5,920.16. So it has not increased from last year. This policy provides coverage for public officials liability, public entity liability and reimbursement, and employment practices liability, with a $10,000 deductible for each occurrence. It also has a $25,000 crisis management fund to manage public relations or emergency response to an event that does involve the board. So with that being said, does anybody have any questions in particular about this policy?
If I understood correctly, when we emailed the policy amount remains the same and the premium remains basically the same as last year. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Have you sent a copy of this policy around yet?
I've sent it to you, David. I believe I sent it to Elena and Danielle, but I can send it to the rest of the board if you'd like.
Send it to Danielle and she'll distribute it, but I don't think there's any controversy, so I would be happy to entertain a motion.
Same insurer?
Same what?
Insurer.
Chubb.
Should the same one as last
Yes,
year?
this includes Chubb Insurance.
Okay, thank you. Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the motion and approve the policy. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay, Chair's report. I bumped into Daryl Shaw at lunch today, Mr. Smoker and I did, and he is interested in proposing a specific location. We have a antique streetcar, Bernie, that is downstairs, and that this Tampa Streetcar Society restored years ago before we could build a streetcar system. It's a beautiful restored car, but it's really too old, and it's got a big engine, but it's a small car, not air conditioned, so we don't run it. So Mr. Shaw proposed about a year and a half ago to put it in his new development in Ybor, which we thought was a great idea. We have an option lease that he hasn't completely executed. But what he's told me today, and I want Mr. Allen to hear this, is that he would like to put it in an enclosed space, I think in the big warehouse building he's doing there on the tracks. So he's going to turn that into an event space with a covered but open air area as you go in. And he wants to put it in there, which means it would be undercover but not air conditioned. And we kind of made it clear that we wanted it to be air conditioned space because it's so old. He also agreed to have it curated as a museum exhibit. And we have a lot of other things from the Streetcar Society that are to do with the car and how it was restored. And so he agreed to all of that. But today he said, well, I want to talk about putting it undercover, but not in air conditioning. And so here's what I'm thinking, and I'd like your thoughts. I don't want to put this responsibility on Mr. Allen in terms of whether that car could survive long-term while not in air conditioning. But I would like to ask, or at least you all to consider letting me ask the HART board to locate and retain an expert in these cars, vintage restored cars, to look at the car and tell us what condition it's in and what condition it would likely stay in if it were in air-conditioned space and in not an air-conditioned space. What do you think?
I think we have to do something to protect the investment we have in it. What is we did an agreement not too long ago.
With him, yeah.
With them, I realize that, but that was the ultimate resting place, was going to be an air-conditioned facility. I don't remember the details of the location.
That remained in question. We made it clear we wanted it in air conditioning, which is why he sought me out.
Right, I understand.
And so his plan is to seek me out again, but I'm going to bring him here and have him sit down with Mr. Allen and I at the least, or Scott. But I'm thinking we need an expert to tell us whether that car could survive if it weren't in air conditioning.
How much did it cost us to refurbish? Do we know? Roughly?
Well,
A lot, a little?
the Streetcar Society were wonderful people. Half of the Streetcar Society, of which I was, raised money by selling beer at Wabaween and stuff like that. And the other half are retired engineers and all kinds of people. And they did the physical restoration. So we raised about almost $200,000 and worked on it for 10 years. So it's worth $300,000 or $400,000 at least.
It's worth protecting.
It is worth protecting.
Do we have plans of, are we going to use it for anything? Or is it just sitting there at this point? And
We don't operate it anymore here.
okay, and it's just, we're not planning to use it do anything for ourselves. So
Now,
this opportunity is one that we could utilize.
oh, it's a great idea to have
Okay.
Daryl take it because everything he does is first class. The
Great.
question is, do we force him to put it in air conditioning or not? And if we did, he probably would, but I can't guarantee it.
I would agree to have someone
Take a look at it.
take a look at it and advise us based on the investment that's been made.
Okay, so we'll chat later today just about how to go about that, Brian and Scott, if that's okay with you. All right, moving on to the CEO's report, Mr. Drainville.
Do you think we could get $2.3 million?
Oh, I'm sorry.
She's not shy.
Yeah, well, I could ask. Go ahead, Scott.
Thank you, President. Good morning, good afternoon again. So just two quick follow-ups. As previously Frank mentioned, Streetcar 431 is officially back in Tampa after undergoing an extensive restoration at the Gameco Trolley Company specialized facility in Iowa. Now that restoration work is complete, the Gameco team conducted their site visit, calibrating test equipment to prepare the car for a safe return to service. The equipment monitors the power to the motors, vehicle speed, the brake cylinder pressure during a series of dynamic braking tests, ensuring that the streetcar performs safely and reliably alongside the rest of the fleet. The other update is, in addition, on Wednesday, July 9th, a certified vendor began the annual lift and crane inspections at the streetcar facility, along with the heavy maintenance and preventative maintenance buildings. These required inspections will test and certify each lift for 1 year, ensuring compliance with safety and operational standards. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Is there any new business? Any old business? If not, I declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you all very much for coming. It was a very interesting meeting today.
How did we get the streetcar? Did they pick it up and put it in a flatbed and drag it over? Or
Oh, yeah.
is it all the way there?
Oh, you mean the one downstairs?
Yeah.
Well, it operates.
But
But we have moved it on a truck. In fact, that's